Alright, welcome back YouTube. Today I'm going to go over a product review. The best crossbow for your money. Let's go. Right?
Well, I've never been one to go by the rules. Well, I didn't care what was in. Well, I didn't care what was cool. Well, I've always been a little reckless and wild and free. The older I get, the younger I wanna be. Yeah, 'cause I'm still some kind of crazy, out on the edge.
Alright YouTube, so this is an archery channel and it's August, about mid-August. We're about a month out here in Missouri from actually hunting. And I wanted to go over this because this is a cool product I found and I think you need to know about it. And if you're watching this in the future, you still probably need to buy it. And that is the CenterPoint cp400. It says right here, cp400. Okay, now, what is this? It's a budget crossbow coming in at that, what I call the everyday serious hunter price. And so I'm gonna go over that real quick. I have 3 tiers. I have that cheap tier of crossbow, bows, anything. It's like, well, I want to say I have it. I might go hunting once every 5 years with my buddies, and I'm not really trying to hunt. I'm just out there, just so I can say I went. Then you have the working man's bows, and then you have down here in the bottom the like prime time player bows. Prime time player. That's a wrestling reference. But so this falls into the budget category, the working man's crossbow, the guys that go out and hunt a lot and they need tools to work for them for the price. Real quick, I'm going to run down the specs. It's 35 inches long when it's all the way retracted. No, not 35, 32 inches. I'm not cutting that out. According to the spec sheet, it's 10 inches wide. Does that sound like another crossbow on the market? It should. And cocked, it's at 6.5 inches or 7, somewhere in there. That's stupid narrow. It has a foot stirrup that folds, and it goes 400 feet per second. Comes with 3 bolts, a quiver, the sling I added. Again, it's a Walmart sling, and then it also comes with a calibrated scope. Now I'll go over why this is here and not on the bow. It also uses a special cocking sled rope. Alright, not the 2 little dangly hooks, but it actually uses a like sled hook so you get a more consistent draw. Now why is this bow so awesome? Well, because it has Raven helical technology. Okay, so for all you that don't know, Raven was bought by CenterPoint, and apparently CenterPoint decided to throw on the front end of what I call a Raven bow, because that's what it looks like, on one of their crossbows. So you're gonna get that awesome, super cool, narrow Raven feel up front for a CenterPoint, a Wicked Ridge price. You're going a couple of downfalls, big negatives I see. This scope is not speed rated, but I want to point this out. The drop reticle in it is dead on. Okay, so if you sight this baby in at 20, you're good to 100, or at least to 50 yards. And I was shooting 50 yards offhand, and it was insane. I'm talking groups like that offhand. okay? And if you have a rest, you shoot farther. Another downside, you're gonna use their bolt. That's right, you're gonna have to use their bolt, which these are actually not that badly priced. They do have an 81 grain insert up front, and their total arrow weight is 400 grains. And the FOC is about 15, so I can deal with it. This bow is going to be pushing that arrow, this bow, pushing that arrow about 400 feet per second. Pretty quick. And since it's made similarly by Raven, I'm going to say it's probably pretty close to that. I have not yet chronographed it, but in my experience, Ravens, watch all the reviews, whatever they say their bows are, it's that plus about 5, maybe. You might get 5 more feet per second. So the downsides I don't think are that big of a deal. A great calibrated scope with that's illuminated reticle, a really good bolt, but you can only use their bolts, so you can't go to Walmart or, you know, build your own. And you got a rope cocker, and you cannot get a normal crank in as of right now. You cannot buy the crank aftermarket. They are selling cranks with these bows now, but you cannot buy it aftermarket. They say that's coming soon. So there's all the technical specs. Let me tell you how it shot. Amazing. If you haven't figured that out, it shot amazing. 20 yards offhand. This is the only crossbow that I've ever owned, used. I can shoot offhand and shoot better than my bow. Most of the time I get cheap crossbows and they're front heavy, they're super wide, and they're terrible, and their trigger's terrible. This one, even though the trigger's not on the Raven quality, is very usable. It's very long, but very light. So you do feel like you're squeezing the trigger forever, but it is really on. Again, 50 yards offhand, because I feel like that's the #1 thing. No one cares what you can, like, put it in a gun vise and shoot. I'm really interested to see what this whole thing will do at 100. Now, in all disclosure, I did upgrade the scope, and put on the HHA like wheel here, so that way I can be more precise, because I wanted a Raven sniper, and this is, I call a budget version. Again, amazing. So back to how it shot. I had my brother, he hates crossbows. He's probably going to switch to a crossbow. Doesn't have time to shoot a compound bow anymore. He's always in and out. He might come in for a weekend and get a chance to hunt, and then that might be the only time he gets to hunt a year. He's even said he wants a crossbow, and he said he likes this crossbow. I have another friend who gave up compound bow hunting, has a cheap Barnett crossbow. He shot it. He loved it. He was amazed at what it was for the price. And he was like, wow, this is a really good crossbow. Mind you, they're using this scope. All the accuracy has been done with this scope so far. They were shooting at 40 yards. My buddy shot a bolt. Colby shot a bolt. I shot a bolt. That much, 40 yards. I don't know offhand, not on a bench rest. I don't know what more you can ask out of a bow. So I bet the question is, what's the price? Well, that's simple. The price point I'm seeing them on their website is $999. That's full-blown MSRP with a crank, because they're starting to come out with a silent crank. However, when you go to eBay, which is where I got this one, without the crank, I paid under $650 for it. I think that's a steal. I think this is the everyman's bow, the average Joe's bow, the bow they can go out and hunt with and be widely successful. I mean, they've done everything for you, between giving you a very high FOC arrow going at a good speed to just a great feel. It's not front heavy that much, not nearly as much as normal crossbows. And the overall weight, now that I just mentioned that, I'm rambling here, but I don't care, is under 7 pounds, or right at 7, probably right at about 7 pounds. So it's about the same weight as an AR-15 or your granddaddy's hunting rifle, your hunting rifle. So it gets a big thumbs up from me. I recommend you go buy it. It's the best crossbow for your money. If you like the video, hit that likes button. It really helps us out. You want to see more content? Hit that subscribe button, because deer season's coming up, and between this and my other bows, you're going to see some deer meat coming. You know, and we've got more hunters this year and more filming to do. And of course, I have links down below that help support us here. If you'd like to support us, and you get some kickback money in that too. And remember to always, even with crossbows, keep it heavy, preferably in the front.